The collapse the neural implant behind Elena's left ear sparked one final time before dying completely. She pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of the cargo hold, feeling the vibrations of the transport ship's engines through her fingertips. 3 days since the memory wipe failed. 3 days since her past came flooding back in fragments of blood in betrayal. "You're bleeding again," said a voice behind her. Elena didn't turn around. She'd been avoiding him since they'd been locked in here together, but in a space barely larger than a prison cell, avoidance was impossible. Marcus Reeves sat chained to the opposite wall, his dark eyes watching her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. Former Alliance assassin turned prisoner, just like her. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. "It's nothing," she lied, wiping the blood from her nose with the back of her hand. The implant's death throes were wreaking havoc on her nervous system. "Neural rejection syndrome," Marcus said matter-of-factly. "I've seen it before." "You've got maybe 12 hours before the seizures start." Elena finally looked at him. Even chained and beaten, he carried himself with predatory grace. His left cheek bore a fresh scar that hadn't been there during his trial, and his Alliance uniform was torn and blood-stained. "What do you care?" "I don't." He shifted, the chains around his wrists clinking softly. "But we're both dead if you seize up when they transfer us to the mining colony." The transport shuddered violently. Emergency lights bathed the cargo hold in hellish red as alarms began wailing throughout the ship. Elena braced herself against the wall as the artificial gravity fluctuated. "That's not normal turbulence," Marcus said, his voice cutting through the chaos. Through the single porthole, Elena glimpsed something that made her blood freeze. Ships, dozens of them, sleek and predatory, bearing the crimson insignia of the Syndicate. The same organization she'd spent 5 years hunting for the Alliance. The same organization that had killed her sister. "They found us," she whispered. The ship lurched again, throwing her across the small space. She landed hard against Marcus, their faces inches apart. For a moment, she smelled his scent metal and leather and something darker. Something dangerous. "Elena Santos," he said quietly, recognition dawning in his eyes. The ghost of Kepler Station. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Nobody should know that name. The Alliance had scrubbed it from every record, every database. "How do you?" "Because I was there." His voice dropped to barely above a whisper. 5 years ago, when your sister died, the cargo hold door exploded inward. Syndicate soldiers poured through the breach, plasma rifles trained on them both. But Elena barely noticed. She stared into Marcus's eyes and saw the truth reflected there. He knew something about Rachel's death, something the Alliance had never told her. The revelation the Syndicate facility, carved into the asteroid's core, hummed with barely contained energy. Elena's wrists ached from the neural suppressors they'd clamped around them, devices that turned her enhanced reflexes into sluggish approximations of human normalcy. Across the interrogation chamber, Marcus hung suspended in an energy field that crackled every time he moved. "The famous ghost and the Alliance's pet killer," said their captor, "a woman with silver hair and eyes like winter storms. Commander Vera Kane, the Syndicate's most ruthless operative." What a delicious coincidence. Elena tested her bonds again. The suppressors sent jolts of pain up her arms. "If you're going to kill us, get it over with." "Oh, Elena." Death would be far too simple. Kane circled them like a predator. "Tell me, do you still have nightmares about your sister?" A question hit like a physical blow. Elena's vision blurred for a moment, memories threatening to surface. Rachel's laugh, the explosion, the screaming. "Leave her alone," Marcus said, his voice strained against the energy field's pressure. Kane smiled. "How noble. But you haven't told her yet, have you, Marcus? About your real mission on Kepler Station?" Elena's blood turned to ice. She looked at Marcus, searching his face for denial. Instead, she found guilt written across his features like a confession. "What is she talking about?" Elena's voice barely qualified as a whisper. Marcus closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were full of pain. "Elena, he was there to kill you," Kane interrupted with evident pleasure. "Alliance intelligence discovered you were planning to defect. They sent their best assassin to eliminate their best operative before you could reach us." The words didn't make sense. Elena shook her head. "That's impossible. I never planned to defect. I was loyal to the Alliance. Were you?" Kane produced a holographic display that materialized between them. "These are communication logs from your personal account. Messages sent to Syndicate contacts. Plans to sell Alliance secrets in exchange for protection for you and your sister." Elena stared at the evidence, her mind reeling. The messages were in her voice, used her encryption codes, contained information only she would know. But she had never sent them. "The messages are fake," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "The neural implant," Marcus said suddenly. "They were using it to access your memories, manufacture evidence. That's why it malfunctioned during the wipe." Kane clapped slowly. "Very good, Marcus. Yes, the Alliance created false evidence to justify eliminating their most dangerous asset. But the plan went wrong, didn't it? Your feelings compromised the mission." Elena looked at Marcus, seeing him clearly for the first time. "You were supposed to kill me, but Rachel died instead. The bomb was meant for you," he said, agony in every word. "I planted it in your apartment. But Rachel came home early. I tried to stop it, tried to warn her, but the energy field flickered and died as Elena's suppressors overloaded from her rage. She launched herself across the room, hands wrapping around Marcus's throat before the guards could react. She died because of you, Elena snarled, pressing her thumbs against his windpipe. Elena, please, Marcus gasped. I've spent 5 years trying to make it right. 5 years of guilt. Don't bring back the dead. Plasma bolts seared the air around them as Syndicate guards moved to intervene. But Kane raised a hand to stop them. Let them work it out, she said with amusement. After all, they're going to need to trust each other for what comes next. Elena loosened her grip slightly. What? The Alliance is mounting a rescue operation. They'll be here within the hour. Kane's smile was predatory. I'm going to let you escape, Elena, and you're going to help me destroy them from within. The choice, the maintenance. Tunnel reeked of ozone and recycled air. Elena crawled through the narrow space, her body still trembling from adrenaline and suppressed fury. Behind her, Marcus moved with practiced silence despite his injuries. They'd been running for 20 minutes since their escape from the Syndicate facility. Stop, Elena whispered, pressing herself against the tunnel wall. Through a ventilation grate, she could see Alliance Marines advancing through the asteroid's corridors. Their tactical formation was flawless, their movements synchronized. She recognized the team leader Captain Torres, her former handler. The man who'd ordered her neural implant. The man who'd signed her death warrant 5 years ago. There, Marcus breathed against her ear. Third Squad, moving toward the command center. Elena shivered at his proximity, hating how her body responded even now. We need to warn them about the trap. Do we? His voice was soft, dangerous. They left you to die, Elena. They made me kill an innocent woman. She turned in the cramped space, their faces inches apart. So what? We let Kane slaughter them? We survive. Marcus's eyes burned with intensity. The Alliance, the Syndicate, they're both using us. When does it end? Explosions echoed through the facility as the Alliance strike team hit Syndicate defenses. Elena closed her eyes, seeing Rachel's face in her memory. Her sister's smile the morning she died. The way she'd hummed while making breakfast, completely unaware that death was already planted in her home. I can't let more people die because of me, Elena said. Even the people who betrayed you? She opened her eyes and found him watching her with something that might have been love if it weren't so broken. Especially them. They moved through the facility like ghosts. Elena's knowledge of Syndicate tactics and Marcus's intimate familiarity with Alliance operations creating a deadly combination. But as they reached the command center, Elena realized the scope of Kyne's trap. The Alliance hadn't sent a rescue mission. They'd sent an assassination squad equipped with experimental weapons designed to level the entire facility. Everyone inside would de-prisoners, guards, even their own people. The Alliance intended to erase all evidence of their illegal operations. My God, Elena whispered, staring at the tactical display. They're going to destroy everything. Marcus studied the readout over her shoulder. Scorched Earth Protocol. No witnesses, no evidence. Including us. Including us. The facility shuddered as Alliance forces breached the outer defenses. Through the command center's massive viewports, Elena could see evacuation ships fleeing the asteroid, but not nearly enough to carry everyone inside. There, Marcus pointed to a secondary console. Emergency broadcast system. If we can reach Alliance Command, tell them civilians are still inside. They already know. Kane's voice cut through the chamber. Elena spun to find the Syndicate commander standing behind them, her silver hair disheveled, a plasma burn across her left arm. Her elite guards flanked the exits. I told you the Alliance would come, Kane continued. What I didn't mention was that I've been feeding them information for months. Every facility location, every operational detail. All to bring them here. Your Alliance, Marcus said with dawning horror. Deep cover for 15 years. Kane smiled coldly. The Syndicate needed to be eliminated, but we couldn't do it through conventional warfare. Too messy, too public. Better to let them think they're winning while we hollow them out from within. Elena felt sick. The prisoners, the civilians, acceptable casualties. Kane raised her weapon. As are you too. The Alliance can't risk anyone knowing about this operation. The first shot took out the lights. Marcus shoved Elena behind the command console as plasma bolts scorched the air where they'd been standing. In the darkness, emergency lighting cast everything in hellish red. The evacuation codes, Elena whispered urgently. Can you access them? Marcus's fingers flew over the console. Got them, but the ships won't launch without command authorization. I can get it, Elena said. But I need you to trust me. Elena, do you trust me? His hand found hers in the darkness. With my life. She stood up in the middle of the firefight, arms raised. Kane, I'll make you a deal. The betrayal, the plasma fire ceased instantly. In the sudden silence, Elena could hear her own heartbeat, the distant rumble of Alliance charges preparing to blow the facility's core. Kane emerged from cover, weapon trained on Elena's chest. I'm listening, Kane said. My biometrics can override the evacuation lockdown, Elena said, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her throat. I'll give you the codes in exchange for safe passage off this rock. Elena. No, Marcus whispered from behind the console. And why would you save Syndicate prisoners? Kane asked, suspicion clear in her voice. Because unlike you, I don't murder civilians to achieve my goals. Kane laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. Such noble sentiment from the ghost of Kepler Station. Tell me, how many Syndicate operatives did you kill during your career? Only the ones who deserved it. And who decided that? The Alliance? Kane stepped closer, her weapon never wavering. The same organization that ordered your death? Elena felt the weight of every life she'd taken, every mission she'd completed without question. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're all monsters. But those people in the evacuation pods don't deserve to die for our sins. The facility shuddered again, more violently this time. Through the viewports, Elena could see Alliance ships positioning themselves for the final assault. Minutes, maybe seconds before the charges detonated. "Your biometrics," Kane said finally. "Place your hand on the scanner." Elena moved toward the evacuation console, acutely aware of every eye in the room tracking her movement. The scanner hung to life under her palm, reading DNA, retinal patterns, neural signatures. One by one, the evacuation pods began launching from the asteroid's docking bays. "Touching," Kane said. "Now kill him." Elena froze. "What?" "Marcus Reeves. The man who murdered your sister." Kane held out a plasma pistol. "Kill him, and I'll take you with me when I leave. Refuse, and you both die here." "Elena," Marcus said quietly, rising from behind the console. "It's okay." "No." She looked at him, seeing past the scars and guilt to the broken man beneath. "I won't do it." "Take the deal," Marcus said, moving toward her. "Live. Someone should live through this. Not without you." Kane's laughter filled the chamber. "How romantic." The assassin and his target, united in death. There's a certain poetry to it. Elena saw the truth in Kane's eyes the woman had never intended to let either of them live. This had all been theater, a cruel game before the execution. But Elena had played games too, and she'd learned from the best. "You're right," Elena said, taking the offered weapon. "He does deserve to die." She turned toward Marcus, the pistol heavy in her hands. His eyes met hers, calm and accepting. Behind that calm, she saw trust. Complete, absolute trust. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what?" "This." Elena spun and fired, not at Marcus, but at the chamber's emergency blast doors. The plasma bolt overloaded the locking mechanism, sealing them inside just as Alliance charges detonated throughout the facility. The command center shook like a ship in a storm. "You stupid girl." Kane snarled, raising her weapon. "You've killed us all." "Maybe," Elena said. "But at least we're dying on our own terms." The lights failed. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in crimson. Through the deck plating, Elena could feel the asteroid beginning to tear apart. But in the chaos, she'd missed something crucial. Marcus was moving. He struck Kane from behind, his hands closing around her throat. The Alliance commander was stronger, better trained, but Marcus fought with desperate fury. They crashed into the command console, struggling for control of Kane's weapon. "Elena!" Marcus shouted. "The escape pods!" She ran to the console, fingers flying over the controls. One pod remained, hidden in a maintenance bay. But the launch sequence required 2 command codes, entered simultaneously from different terminals. "I need you," she called to Marcus. Kane broke free, blood streaming from her nose. She raised her weapon toward Elena, finger tightening on the trigger. Marcus threw himself between them, just as she fired. The plasma bolt took him in the chest, spinning him around. He hit the deck hard, smoke rising from the burned hole in his uniform. "Marcus." Elena dropped beside him, hands pressed against the wound. "The codes," he gasped, blood frothing on his lips. "Terminal 7. My access key is penitence." Kane advanced on them, weapon raised for the killing shot. 15 years of planning, and you think you can. The blast door exploded inward. Alliance Marines poured through the breach, weapons blazing. In the chaos of the firefight, Elena crawled toward Terminal 7. Marcus's access key unlocked the final launch sequence. The escape pod's engines ignited just as the facility's core went critical. Elena looked back to see Marcus watching her, his eyes peaceful despite the pain. "I'm not leaving you," she said. "You have to." He coughed, more blood. "Someone needs to tell the truth about all of this. Come with me." He smiled sadly. "Can't. The pod's only rated for 1 person. We both go, We both die. The asteroid was coming apart around them. Elena had seconds to choose. Save herself, or die with the man who'd killed her sister, but somehow learn to love her anyway. The sacrifice Elena pulled Marcus toward the escape pod, his body a dead weight against her shoulder. Around them, the facility screamed its death song, needle tearing, atmosphere venting, the deep groaning of an asteroid being torn apart by its own destruction. "Elena, stop," Marcus gasped. "The pod won't make it with both of us. We'll make it." She hauled him through the pod's hatch, ignoring the warning lights that blazed across the control panel. Payload exceeded. Life support insufficient. "You stubborn, impossible woman." Despite his pain, Marcus managed a weak smile. "Always trying to save everyone." "Not everyone." Elena sealed the hatch and initiated launch sequence. "Just the people who matter." The pod lurched away from the dying facility, its small engine straining against the asteroid's gravitational pull. Through the viewport, Elena watched the Syndicate base collapse in on itself, taking Kane and her secrets with it. The Alliance ships retreated to safe distance, their mission complete. "Status report," Marcus said, reading the pod's displays over her shoulder. "Life support for 18 hours. Navigation system damaged. Emergency beacon functional." Elena's hands moved across the controls with practiced efficiency. "We're drifting toward the outer system. Rescue ships might find us." "Might. It's better than certain death." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "I dream about her sometimes, Rachel. She's making breakfast, humming that song she loved. And I try to tell her to run, to get away, but she can't hear me." Elena's throat tightened. "What song?" "Starlight Serenade, old Terran piece. She'd play it every morning on that little music box," Elena remembered. Rachel had treasured that music box, claimed it helped her think. She was composing her own version, a remix with modern harmonies. "I know. I heard her working on it the night before." Marcus closed his eyes. "She was so excited to show you when you got back from the mission." Tears Elena hadn't allowed herself to shed for 5 years finally came. They sat in the small pod, drifting through the void, sharing memories of a woman they'd both loved and lost. "The Alliance will come for us," Elena said eventually. "To finish the job, you mean?" "Yes. Then we disappear. New identities, new lives. There are places in the outer rim where the Alliance's reach doesn't extend." Elena looked at him, this broken man who'd carried guilt like armor for half a decade. "And then what?" "We pretend none of this happened. We try to build something better. Something real." Marcus reached for her hand. "If you'll have me." The pod's emergency beacon chirped softly, transmitting their position to anyone listening. Help or death, depending on who found them first. "I should hate you," Elena said. "You should, but I don't. And I hate that I don't hate you." Marcus laughed, the sound rusty from disuse. "That might be the most complicated thing anyone's ever said to me. It's been a complicated few days." Outside the viewport, stars wheeled slowly past ancient lights that had burned since before humanity reached for the void. Elena thought about the choices that had brought them here, the missions that had shaped them, the people they'd killed and saved and failed to protect. "The rescue ships are coming," Marcus said, studying the long-range sensors. Elena looked at the display. 3 blips approaching from different vectors. Alliance patrol ships moving fast. "They'll separate us," she said. "Interrogation, memory wipe, execution. Probably. Or we could make a different choice." Marcus understood immediately. The pod's manual controls could be overridden. A few commands would send them spiraling into the nearest star, ending everything on their own terms. "Together?" he asked. Elena considered it. "The peace of oblivion." No more running, no more guilt, no more sleepless nights filled with ghosts. It would be easy. It would be final. But through the viewport, she could see an evacuation ship in the distance. One of the vessels they'd helped launch from the asteroid. Families inside, children who would grow up free because she and Marcus had chosen to save them instead of themselves. No, Elena said finally. We run. She fired the pod's remaining fuel in a desperate burn toward the outer system's edge. Behind them, Alliance ships gave chase, but they were too far away, moving too slowly. Marcus squeezed her hand. The fuel won't last long enough to reach safe harbor. Then we'll drift until someone finds us. Pirates, traders, whoever. And if no one comes? Elena smiled for the first time in years. Then we'll have 18 hours to figure out who we are when we're not running from our past. The pod's engine died, leaving them in silence except for the soft hum of life support. Through the viewport, the Alliance ships fell behind, unable to match their desperate trajectory into the void. Marcus pulled her close, and Elena let herself lean into his warmth. Two broken souls, drifting through darkness toward an uncertain future. I'm sorry, he whispered. For Rachel. For everything. I know. Elena closed her eyes. We'll find a way to live with it. Together. Together. In the distance, a ship appeared in Alliance, not Syndicate, but something else. A frontier trader, perhaps, or smugglers running from their own ghosts. Elena watched it grow larger, and for the first time in 5 years, she felt something that might have been hope. The future was uncertain. The past was unforgivable. But in this moment, drifting between the stars, Elena Santos and Marcus Reeves had found something neither had expected. A chance to begin again. The end